In this video, let's try to look into how Spring Security internally handles authorization and authentication. So in industry, we call authentication in the short form with auth-n and authorization with the form auth-gen. So that's a heading that I have used to make you aware of it. So coming to the point, how Spring Security internally handles exactly auth-n and auth-jet. Authorization is an optional step in any application. Like there are good number of applications where they just want to authenticate the person or authenticate the user. They don't have a complex requirements like they want to control the actions or pages, display the data based upon the user access and roles. In such scenarios, they will go with only authentication. But majority of the applications, particularly if your application having thousands of users, then obviously there is a good chance that you may have a requirement to control the user actions and display of the data based upon their roles and authorities. So in such scenarios only we configure authorization inside the Spring Security. As we know from previous sections, all the user related contract and schema is stored inside user details. So that's what will happen as soon as the user entered his credentials. A authentication filter will intercept the request and it will call the method like load user by username and try to validate whether the credentials are correct or not. If the credentials are correct, all the user details excluding password will be stored in the user detail schema implementation and it will be stored inside the security context. Once it is stored inside the security context, and if you have configured authorization inside your framework, we will see how to configure authorization in the coming videos. But for now, assume if you configured authorization inside your application, authorization filter also will come into picture and it will try to load the user details from the security context. And when I say user details, along with his name, email, and all other details, it will also load authorities or roles that user associated. Based upon those values, it will try to compare whether this particular user has access to perform this action or not. Only if he has access, then it will allow the business execution to the associated API path or URL. Like in these scenarios, we have paths like admin, dashboard, and based upon the rules that we configured, the authorization filter will allow them to execute further. Otherwise, it will throw an error 403 forbidden error. Now we have discussed on a high level how Spring Security handles authorization scenarios. In the next video, let's try to understand where exactly these authorization details like roles, authorities will be stored inside the user detail schema. Thank you and bye.